Is this deja vu, Interisti? Are we seeing the same movie being played out once again? And of course, I am referring to the current news around Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who unfortunately has got injured once again. Originally, after the Super Cup game, or in the Super Cup game when he got subbed off, it was a groin injury. And now today's reports from multiple sources have confirmed that he has a different injury to his calf, which will keep him out. And Daniele Maria says al menos, so at least 20 days. And now the injuries for Hakan at the age of, what is he, 30, are starting to pile up. He will be 31 in February. And this is a conversation to have. This is not something, definite or like, a big issue, but it's something that Inter will have to think about, because this is something that happened to one of my favorite players of this modern Inter era. Definitely was my favorite player when he was around in the regista position, Marcelo Brozovic. 2 seasons ago, Inter had to make this decision at the age of 30, 31. Marcelo, midfield stalwart of Inter. We could not imagine Inter without Marcelo Brozovic at the base of the midfield. Inter made a decision after the Champions League final that this guy was going to be sacrificed because of his injury history, his off the field professionalism, I guess we could call it, and his big salary and other things that actually wasn't explained to us. There's always been rumors that, there were other things going on. No one really, we never really got down to the end of why he was forced out. It wasn't really like a, Brozo, do you want to leave? We kind of forced his hand to leave, to go to Saudi Arabia, to Al Nasser, of course, to triple, quadruple his salary, whatever happened to it. We undersold him in the end, even, only 17 million, I think, in the end it was. Originally, they were talking about 30, 25 million, which I think was fair value, at least, for still, at that time, one of the best CDMs around. But this was the reason, as you saw, his rising injury issues, well, rising, but just that final season, 22, 23 seasons, 4 injuries, 17 game missed, 80 days in total. There was, rumors that he wasn't recovering in the right way, or that he was saving himself for the Croatian national team, which I don't know if I believe or not. I know sometimes these kind of theories do come up, but Brozovic never gave me the reason to think otherwise. But with Hakan, we're seeing this season a similar trend. You can see he always had a few injuries. I mean, nothing to be worried about every season. That's very normal. But this season, we're only halfway through the season. He's already on 4 injuries, which is the most he's had through his transfer marked record here since 2013. And this is already the most games he's ever missed, ever. He's already doubled last season's game amounts of game missed. And it's only going to get worse, because already we know he's going to add 20 days probably to this 44 days, as we know. And games missed is probably going to go close to 20 if this trend continues. Now, is this, of course, there's many factors to this. It's not just, oh yeah, he's finished physically, let's get rid of him. It's, of course, the amount of games we having to play. Inter, for him, for Turkey, he is the Turkish national team captain. If he's fit, even if he's half fit, he is playing for Turkey, whether we like it or not. For Inter, if he's half fit, he's playing most of the time, because at the moment we know Aslani, do we trust him? Does Inzaghi really trust him most of the time? Can he rest Hakan most of the time? Not really. We do it, but not as much as probably Hakan needs it. Off the field, now this is, I don't know, with Brozovic, we knew from the beginning when we signed Brozovic, there was pictures of him outside of Inter when he was with Croatia and everything, like, smoking a cigarette, eating frozen pizza, and people knew that Brozovic, did kind of what he wanted off the pitch, but somehow his body would cope with it, and his lungs were just made of steel. But at some point, that lifestyle did catch up at European top level, playing football, club level, national team. It catches up to you now. Actually, looking at Brozovic's injury history, I don't think he seems like, I don't know if Transfermarkt looks at the Saudi league as closely as it does the top 5 European leagues, but it doesn't show as any injury to Brozovic since he's moved to Al Nassr, which, shows that maybe there wasn't that much of an issue, but Inter had to make a decision on it. And of course, you can also say the Saudi league, maybe in terms of the intensity, and he retired from the Croatian national team as well. So there's that factor as well. But I think we are in front of a decision to make in terms of Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Same issue in terms of salary wise. He is one of the highest earner in the team, 6.57 million net, which is pretty much exactly what Brozovic was earning. Brozovic's sacrifice allowed Inter to buy Frattesi, get rid of that big salary, make some money, get someone like Frattesi in. We keep talking about getting a vice Hakan. The point of this video is maybe, and I'm sure Beppe Marotta, Ausilio, these guys are already thinking potentially about this. Is it about Hakan out and getting a Hakan replacement? And again, this is not about Hakan's quality. Similar to Brozovic, he's ended up becoming my favorite player, one of my favorite players in the team, because I just have a soft spot for that position, players that play in that position. So it's definitely not coming from some sort of, bias towards against Hakan. I didn't used to like him before, but I definitely like him a lot now. But it's in terms of long-term squad building or medium-term squad building, even short-term due to his injuries, Inter might have to make some sort of decision on this. And there has been some murmurings that Inter have, looked at how Enzo Fernandez's position is at Chelsea. That's the type of profile, to come into Inter. I know we're talking about, Ricci from Torino to come in to be the vice Hakan and then potentially take over from Hakan. But I don't think he's ready to take over right now. Like, if we bring in Ricci now, spend 25, 30 million, I don't think he's ready for that. He could get to that level, maybe. Some people don't see that level. Some people think he's an overrated Italian, similar to the Calafiori, maybe because he's got the jawline and the looks, and he gets overrated because of that. And he's young and Italian, maybe. We haven't seen him in a European team. We haven't seen him at the top level. He's only recently broke into the Italian national team. But it's definitely something for me and you guys to think about. Sometimes we think these guys are just, we're going to have Barella, Bastoni, Hakan, Lautaro. This is going to be our spine till they die, till they retire. But things happen. Injuries happen. Lautaro as well, because of his form. These types of big, harsh, maybe some people think, decisions may have to be made. Last summer, let's not forget, Hakan confirmed this himself. Bayern Munich came in for Hakan. There was a potential offer on the table, but Hakan, he said, I discussed it with Inter. There was also Saudi offers on the table for Hakan. He said, I will do what Inter want me to do, and Inter wanted to keep him, and he was happy to stay at Inter. He is a mainstay at Inter. But there definitely was, multiple reports have talked about 30, 40 million plus offer coming from Bayern Munich to make Hakan their CDM. If something comes like that again, probably not the same amount of money, but if something comes like that this summer, I can see Inter saying to Hakan, it might be the time, bro, especially if it's a Saudi offer. It might be the time for you and do the Brozovic move. Thank you for your service. Amazing work. It's time to move on. But of course, that leaves the big gap, big hole in Inter's midfield. Who is going to fill that? We know one thing for certain, that we know Christian Aslani is not the answer to that. It's been 3 years that he's at Inter. Right now, he's not the answer for that. So Hakan became post Brozovic whilst Brozovic was still here. Aslani hasn't become the post Hakan whilst Hakan is still here. Zielinski hasn't yet. Some people saying maybe Zielinski could be the answer to that, because Zielinski made that move, like Hakan moved from the Mezzala to the CDM. Some people see Zielinski making that move. I personally don't see it permanently for sure. But who knows? Inzaghi has cooked this up before. Spalletti cooked up the Brozovic conversion into the regista position. Maybe it could be something internal, but I think it's going to have to be external. I think it's going to have to be a big player. Maybe not Enzo Fernandez, but that's someone I would really like. Of course, his salary and contract at Chelsea is ridiculous. But Inter's Argentinian Paul, Javier Zanetti, something. We can't forget about that. And yeah, who else? Who else is out there? I think that's the main point of this video. I think we might have to start thinking about it because of these injury issues. Again, this is not saying, it's the end. This is it. This is the end for Hakan. This could be the last ever injury ever gets for Inter, and we never speak about this for a long time. But it could also be, unfortunately, the beginning of the end. The injuries are starting to mount up. The proof against Hakan is starting to mount up. I don't know what he does outside of the field. Maybe he can start to look after himself better and prevent these injuries better. But we've also seen other players that enter this season, right? We have been getting a lot more injuries this season, especially muscular injuries all over the team, not just Hakan, all over the team. We're seeing a lot more injuries. So it could also be the training methods and the increased intensity that we know, the higher intensity pre-season training that we did this year. Inzaghi has talked about it a lot. Anyway, you guys let me know in comments down below. What do you make of this? Or do you think this is deja vu and we are seeing a Brozovic situation once again? Or let's just wait and see. You trust Hakan and his body to recover to normal? Or are you starting to maybe think about that future CDM spot? I think thinking about it now, right now, live to you guys, I just remembered. I think Joshua Kimmich is also, his contract is expiring at the end of the season with Bayern Munich. Could it be Kimmich to Inter, Hakan to Bayern? Who knows? Let me know in the comments down below. See you on the next one for the